Hi, today we're taking you to one of the best hiking spots in Texas. Welcome to Day 4 Travel, where every day is a great day for travel. Now, if you asked me to come hiking with you in the middle of the summer in West Texas, I might think you were crazy. But located deep in the heart of the Davis Mountains is a sky island where the temperature is milder and the vegetation is greener than the surrounding Chihuahuan Desert. With over 100,000 acres of land being managed by the Nature Conservancy, forming what is called the Davis Mountain Preserve, access to this land is available to the general public only a few weekends out of the year. If you plan ahead and make a reservation, you can enjoy camping, 21 trails with around 39 miles of hiking. Join us today as we take you on 4 of the trails. The Davis Mountain Preserve is arguably the most beautiful place in Texas. We start out at the MacIver Visitor Center, nestled just off of Highway 118. Open just a few weeks a year, it contains friendly guides and all the information you need to make your visit worthwhile. If you are staying at the adjacent campground, the Visitor Center has restrooms and showers for your use. The campground next to the Visitor Center is on level ground tucked between the mountains. This was our site. The picnic table was a little old, but the setting was absolutely amazing. Once our camp was set up, we began our drive to the trailhead. To get there, you will need a high clearance vehicle. We were in a Jeep Compass and we bottomed out multiple times, so anything less, I would question whether you should make the trip. There are the 48 tanks and windmill campsites available to visitors on a first-come, first-served basis, but both were closed due to potential high water conditions when we were there. They offer a more secluded camping experience when conditions are favorable. We finally arrived at the trailhead where we surveilled the panorama and got ready for our 5-hour hike. A very noticeable feature of the park is its well-marked trails. Up the trail we went, it started out pretty steep. The main trail to Mount Livermore, otherwise known as Mount Baldy, is a primitive 4-wheel drive vehicle trail, so it is composed of loose rocks. It is definitely recommended you wear secure footwear with good traction. I watched a couple people bite the dust who were wearing traditional sneakers. It is also recommended you bring 3 liters of water. Who in the world knows what a liter is, but I have a CamelBak I bought at the Army Surplus store which holds 1 gallon of water. I used the whole gallon of water on the hike. It was not too long before we started to see ponderosa pines, and after a while we reached the midway point at Dave's Shelter. The shelter is at the convergence of 3 trails. The Richmond Mountain Trail goes off in one direction, while the Livermore Summit Trail and Olympia Chute trails both leave in different directions and join again at a higher elevation to create a loop. There were some places to eat lunch while enjoying the spectacular views. The recommendation is to ascend using the Mount Livermore Summit Trail and then descend on the Olympia Chute Trail. So that is what we did. We had some concerns about the weather since you could see storms off in the distance. We decided to press on with the idea we would turn back around if needed.
We have officially crossed 8,000 feet
I'm still alive, and we're on our way up to Baldy Peak. This is my friend Max. He's the one responsible for carrying me off the mountain if I die. Fortunately, the storms evaded our area, so we were able to make the ascent to the top. Now Baldy behind us. We should be there shortly. This is it, our final leg, getting ready to do the small rock scramble that we've got here coming up at Mount Baldy. Well, here we are on top of Mount Baldy. We made it. I have to admit I was a little out of breath, but the views were spectacular. On our return, we started our trek down the Olympia Chute Trail, which is a lot easier on your feet as it's more of a traditional hiking trail. The trail is more heavily wooded than the Mount Livermore Trail, and it contains a small aspen grove. I loved the views and enjoyed connecting with nature. Today we're doing the Toby Springs Trail. We heard the Toby Springs Trail was popular among guests due to its flora and fauna, so we decided to hike that trail in our second day. It does have some elevation gain, but it is not as difficult as the trails we hiked the day before. Because of the recent rainfall, the streams were alive and there were a number of small cascades. Once you reach the spring, it is nothing spectacular, but it is tranquil and a good place to rest or eat lunch. There was one point on the trail that reminded me of Zion National Park. I had to kick myself and remember I was in Texas. Today we're getting ready to do the Madera Canyon Trail. The Madera Canyon Trail is the only trail within the preserve you can access year-round. It is located between the main park entrance and the McDonald Observatory off Highway 118. It is a moderate 2.4 mile loop with an elevation gain of only 175 feet. The trail begins by traversing a small creek, which at the time of our visit was flowing pretty nicely due to the recent monsoons. Then the trail rises until you get to the main loop. We went in the direction of the overlook first. There are benches stationed along the path to rest or enjoy the views. The trail weaves through different meadows, pinyon pine, oak, and alligator juniper trees. Eventually, the trail loops around to the Chico Tank, a small reservoir that stores water for the cattle and wildlife that live in the area. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And until next time, arrivederci, paka paka, hasta luego, and shalom lahitharot.